The following video was recorded by a woman named Sarah, who says that for several days leading up to this moment, she had been feeling like she wasn't alone in her own home. At first, she began noticing small things, the kind most people would try to ignore. Objects not exactly where she remembered leaving them, faint sounds coming from other rooms late at night, and at times the uneasy feeling that someone was watching her, even when she was completely alone. She mentioned that there were moments she would be sitting quietly, only to suddenly feel a presence behind her, strong enough to make her turn around. But every time, there was nothing there. As the days went on, that feeling only got worse. She started double-checking doors and windows before going to bed, making sure everything was locked, trying to convince herself it was all in her head. But one night, as she was going through her usual routine, switching off lights, tidying up, and preparing to sleep, something happened that she couldn't ignore anymore. Watch.
What the f*** is that? What the f*** is that? What the f***? What the f*** is that? And a freaking face, like 2 hands and a face. What the f*** is this? What the f***?
On the glass surface, large handprints suddenly appear, but these aren't normal handprints. They appear larger than an average human hand, with long, stretched finger marks that resemble claw-like scratches. But viewers quickly pointed out something even more disturbing. If you look closely at the footage, some people claim they can see what looks like faint glowing eyes reflected in the background, barely visible but positioned in a way that suggests something might have been standing there at the time. And then, in another moment of the clip, there's a shadowy figure. After Sarah shared the video online, reactions were split. Some viewers urged her to contact the police immediately, suggesting the possibility that someone could have been outside her home, watching her and leaving marks on the glass. Others leaned toward a more unsettling explanation. Some believe this could be a case of paranormal mimicry or presence, where something unseen makes itself known through physical marks, especially after a person begins to feel watched for an extended period of time. The fact that Sarah had been experiencing that exact feeling for days before this happened is what makes the situation even more disturbing to many viewers. For now, Sarah hasn't shared any further updates, so until she does, this one remains unsolved. In this next video, a group of paranormal investigators, known for exploring abandoned buildings with unsettling histories, decided to spend the night inside a property that many locals had already warned them about. According to stories surrounding the place, people had reported hearing unexplained noises, objects shifting on their own, and an overwhelming feeling that something inside the building didn't want visitors there. Still, the team went in prepared. They set up their equipment, began recording, and spent hours trying to communicate with whatever presence was rumored to be inside. For a long time, nothing really happened. The building remained quiet, almost too quiet, with only the occasional creak of old wood and distant echoes filling the silence. But then, something finally broke that stillness. Watch.
Hadi farfurile repede. Hadi repede farfurile. Băi, în picior mi-o dat, mă. Hadi repede, fac, gata, opriți tot. Uite, 2 căni, da. Gata, opriți-vă. Opriți înregistrarea. Cu plăcere, da. Băi, băi, băi.
Without warning, mugs suddenly fly across the room, forcefully thrown as if something unseen had picked them up and launched them. When slowed down, the motion becomes even harder to ignore and leaves viewers stunned. The fact that this happened after hours of trying to reach out has led some to think the investigators may have actually provoked a response. Others believe it could be something territorial. The way the mugs were thrown didn't seem random. It felt intentional, almost like a warning, as if whatever is inside that building didn't appreciate being disturbed and decided to make that very clear. So was this simply objects falling in a strange way, or did something unseen respond to their presence that night? You decide. Now in this next video, a woman named Divine, who believes she has what many would describe as the sight, shares another moment from her life. Something she says is just one of many strange experiences she's had in her own neighborhood. According to Divine, this isn't something new. For a long time, she's claimed to notice things most people either don't see or don't pay attention to. Over time, she began documenting these moments and sharing them online, from what she describes as shadowy figures moving across neighboring houses to strange shapes appearing briefly in the dark, and even instances where she hears heavy footsteps pacing outside her door late at night, despite finding no one there when she checks. According to her, having the sight means that no matter where she goes, she's constantly aware that there may be things sharing the same space with us, things most people simply can't see. And one night, she captured something that left even her unsettled. Watch.
I don't know what it is, y'all. But I've seen... Oh! Y'all see that? Did y'all see that? It was like a shadow being that just went by. Y'all see him? He's huge. There's another one up there. It looks like two trying to come in. And I thought I saw... I know. I didn't think. I saw something walk past that car over there. See that light that just went out? So the light was on. I don't know what it is, y'all. But I've seen... Oh! Y'all see that? Did y'all see that? It was like a shadow being that just went by. There's no cars, you guys. This is no cars over here. Oh my God. What the hell? It's an eeriness out here, y'all. That's why I've been sitting out here just chilling. Like, the power's been out for almost 11 hours. And it was a bunch of lights in the sky tonight. And I'm like, something, man. I just sat here and recorded like 15 lights. Look, these. The ones we see sitting up in the sky, them colorful rainbow orbs. Y'all done recorded so many of them, but did y'all see that? I'm trying to see if it's going to do it again. Like, this is deep, y'all. Man, they here. Do you hear me? Like, they are here. I think they had something to do with this windstorm today, too. Knocking out the power. Oh, my gosh.
In the footage, what appears to be a fog-like shape slowly moves across the roof, drifting in a way that doesn't quite match the natural movement of smoke or mist. Divine later shared her own thoughts about what she saw that night. According to her, the same night this was recorded, the area experienced a sudden storm, and she suspects there could be a connection between the two. For Divine, this might just be another example of what she sees on a regular basis. But for everyone else watching, it raises a much bigger question. What exactly moved across that roof that night? The following video was recorded during a routine night shift inside a hospital, but not just any part of the building. This happened on the 4th floor, a section that had reportedly been closed down for years. But despite being shut down, the area still contains hospital beds, equipment, and fully set up rooms, almost as if it had been left behind in a hurry. One night, this was captured.
You need to come to 369 because we're experiencing a ghost.
Big time.
Literally.
Okay, there it goes.
Seriously, come look at this.
So if you know it, say hi.
Ethel,
All?
Ethel, what's wrong with you tonight? What? What's wrong, Ethel?
Where is the
The footage immediately caught people's attention, but not just because of what happened in the video. Some viewers were quick to question the authenticity of the footage, pointing out something that didn't sit right with them. If the floor has been closed for years, why does everything still look maintained? They argued that keeping an entire hospital floor intact, with beds, equipment, and even working hookups, would be extremely expensive and impractical. To them, it didn't make sense that a place would be shut down yet still look operational. For some, that alone made the video hard to believe, but then others stepped in to respond. Several healthcare workers commented on the video, explaining that this situation might not be as unusual as it seems, saying they often leave the equipment exactly where it is because there's nowhere else to store it. And when the building is eventually reused or sold, the next owners either keep the equipment or dispose of it. In some cases, it actually saves money to leave everything in place. This explanation gave the video a bit more context, because if the equipment really was left behind intentionally, then the condition of the floor might not be as suspicious as people initially thought. But like always, I'll leave you to be the judge. This next video was recorded by a man who has recently started to believe that the mirror in his room might be possessed. And according to him, this wasn't just based on one single incident. For weeks, he had been noticing small, unsettling things happening around that mirror. He would sometimes catch what looked like slight movement in the reflection, like something shifting just outside his direct line of sight. Other times, he felt an odd sense of discomfort whenever he stood in front of it for too long, as if the reflection didn't quite match the stillness of the room behind him. There were even moments late at night when he claimed to see handprints of just one hand, the left hand. Still, he tried to brush it off, until one night, just before going to sleep, he noticed something he couldn't explain. Have a look. In the reflection, something appears to move, a faint, shadowy figure. After posting the video, viewers immediately started asking questions. Some wanted to know how old the mirror was, where he got it from, and whether it had any history before it ended up in his room. Others asked if he had experienced anything else unusual around it before this moment. Because for many people, mirrors have long been associated with something more than just reflections. In various beliefs and folklore, mirrors are sometimes described as portals or gateways, objects that can reflect more than just the physical world. Some say they can act as a kind of threshold, a surface where something from the other side might be able to appear, even if only briefly. That idea is what made this video even more unsettling to some viewers. Because if what he captured wasn't just a trick of light or shadow, then the movement didn't come from the room, it came from inside the mirror itself. So what do you think? Was it just a reflection playing tricks on his eyes, or is there something more to that mirror? You decide. In previous videos about Isaac, the man living on that unsettling property with 2 haunted sheds, he made it very clear that he was done going near them. After everything he had experienced, he said he wouldn't step foot there again. But in this next video, he went back. According to Isaac, one night he suddenly felt restless, almost like he couldn't sit still. There was no clear reason for it, no noise or disturbance at first, just a strong urge to get up and go outside, and for no reason. He walked straight toward the shed. As he got closer, he started hearing a strange sound coming from inside. At first, he tried to rationalize it, thinking it might just be a bat or some kind of animal moving around in the dark, but was it really just that? Have a look.
I don't want to go back there. I think that there was somebody back there. I'd have already found out. Oh, Lord Jesus, I don't want to do this. Oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. That's the closest I ever want to get to a bat. Fucking vampires. Oh, that's my shadow. Not my shadow, this damn thing. I've never been back here before. Christ, bro. What the hell is all this stuff? High School. Oh my God. Oh my God. Is this her grandfather's? Holy shit. Larry Gil Patterson has completed the course of study prescribed by the Board of Education and is therefore entitled to this diploma awarded this 2nd day of June, 1966. We just found our grandfather's diploma. And I heard somebody say, hey in here. Oh, fuck no.
After he posted the video, many viewers began connecting this moment to something from his earlier story. The day he acknowledged and paid respect to the grandfather who once lived on the property. Some people started to believe that ever since that moment, something may have become attached to him. Not necessarily the grandfather himself, but something that had been on that land for a long time. According to that theory, the restless feeling Isaac had that night wasn't random. It was something guiding him back to the shed, pulling him toward it. When Isaac saw those comments, he brushed them off. But then, the very next night, something else happened. Watch.
It has been a heck of an afternoon, a heck of a night. I'm glad to be back home. It is about that time that I close my eyes and I finally try to get me some sleep. So I want to wish you all an absolutely wonderful day. Talk to you all later. Peace. Hello? Hello?
Inside the house, a shadow appears on the wall, and at the same time, there's the sound of a door slowly trying to open. Moments like this made it harder for Isaac to ignore what people were saying, but then something happened that completely shifted the way some viewers saw the situation. Have a look.
All my power just went out. Everything is off. Look, my light switch is up, that controls my fan. It's turning off. This shit just happened to me, bro. the only light source I have, because it's raining outside right now. This is the only light source I have. I can't even fucking see it. All my shit is off, bro. I can't this shit. Oh, come the bro. Not now. Most definitely not now. No. Is that water damage? Oh my God, bro. This cannot be my night. I don't even know what the I don't know what to do. Shit tonight, bro. Nope. No, I'm catching you at night. I'm not doing this shit. All my fucking hours out. Fucking bedroom doors opening. It's pitch black behind me. Pitch black in front of me. What the f? I'm not staying in that fucking house. I swear to God, I will stay out here all night.
Instead of seeing this as something threatening, a few viewers suggested something very different, that whatever caused the outage might have actually been trying to help him. Some speculated that there could have been a potential electrical issue involving the water leakage that could have led to a fire, and that the sudden loss of power prevented something worse from happening. But not everyone agrees. Others believe the power cut could have been a way to plunge the house into darkness, making it easier for whatever is there to move unnoticed. And then there's the possibility that whatever is following Isaac is not one single presence, but something more unpredictable. something that can appear calm one moment and unsettling the next. Because if something really did guide him back to that shed and then followed him home, the real question becomes, what does it want? I'll leave that to you to decide. The following video was shared by a woman who's genuinely searching for answers, hoping that someone out there might recognize the signs of what she's dealing with. For a while now, she's noticed a very specific and unsettling pattern involving her dog. Almost every single day, around the same time, her 6-month-old puppy suddenly starts barking intensely at one exact direction in the house. Not just casual barking, but focused, alert, almost defensive barking. What makes this strange is that about 5 minutes later, he suddenly stops, goes completely quiet, and then immediately looks around for her as if checking whether she noticed it too. This routine has repeated itself night after night, always the same direction, always the same behavior. One evening, she was sitting calmly when her dog climbed onto her lap, chewing on a bone, relaxed and content. Suddenly, this happened. Some believe he could be reacting to subtle sounds we can't hear, like changes in air pressure, pipes, or even wildlife outside the walls. But others weren't convinced, especially because of how consistent the timing is and how focused his attention seems to be. As for solutions, viewers offered a wide range of ideas. Some advised checking the space thoroughly for logical explanations, vents, rodents, or structural noises, just to rule them out. A few suggested cleansing the space, whether spiritually or simply by changing the energy in the room, while many stressed one thing above all else: pay attention to the dog. Because whatever he's reacting to it every night, at the same time, in the same place. And until she figures out why, this situation remains deeply unsettling and very much unexplained. This next clip was recorded inside Selma Mansion in Norristown, Pennsylvania, a location that many locals already avoid after dark. The mansion has long been surrounded by rumors, stories of former residents who never really left, reports of unexplained footsteps echoing through empty hallways, doors slamming on their own, and voices heard coming from rooms no one has entered in years. Some say the upper floors are the worst, especially the 3rd floor, where people claim the air suddenly feels heavier and breathing becomes difficult for no reason. On March 29, 2025, a group of urban explorers decided to investigate the mansion for themselves. Despite knowing its reputation, they went in prepared, setting up multiple cameras throughout the house before settling in for the night. While placing equipment in other areas of the mansion, a loud bang suddenly echoed through the building, sharp enough to stop everyone in their tracks. When they checked the footage, they realized the sound came from the bathroom on the 3rd floor, where one of the cameras had been left running. Watch closely. Skeptics argued it could be old pipes, structural shifts, or even wind, but that explanation doesn't easily account for the voice, the pacing of the footsteps, or the very human-sounding breath caught on audio. And considering this happened on the 3rd floor, an area already known for activity, many believe the explorers may have wandered into a space where whatever lingers there doesn't like being watched. So, was this just the mansion settling? Or did Selma Mansion make it very clear that they weren't alone that night? You decide. In this next video, a man believes he's being tormented by something far more sinister than a simple haunting, something he's convinced is a demon living inside his home. And honestly, after seeing everything he's documented, it's hard not to understand why he feels that way. For months now, he says he'll leave the house for work or errands, only to return and find it completely trashed. Tables flipped upside down, chairs thrown across rooms, kitchen equipment scattered across the floor as if someone deliberately went through the house in a rage. One night, while recording a video to explain what he's been experiencing, things suddenly escalated. Watch this.
Guys, so it's been very horrible. I have been experiencing some non-stop shit. You gotta be kidding me. What the shit? What the is that sound? What the They know they not just move. I know that they not just move, y'all. Shit! Oh shit! In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I ask every demon to leave my house immediately. Immediately. I want every demon to leave this house immediately. Immediately. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Leave my house now. The was that? I swear to God, and guys, this is crazy. Swear to God. What the shit! Holy shit! Oh shit! Holy shit! Holy I'm getting the out of here. No shit.
This isn't subtle movement or quiet noises in the background. When something moves, it moves hard. If it rocks a chair, it does so violently. If it rattles a door, it slams and shakes it with force. Viewers quickly began weighing in with their theories. Some believe this could be a case of a highly aggressive poltergeist feeding off fear and emotional stress. Others argue that the destructive nature, the escalation, and the way the activity responds directly to him speaking points to something darker, possibly a demonic attachment rather than a spirit tied to the house itself. As for solutions, people urged him to stop engaging altogether, to avoid provoking whatever it is. Some warned that labeling it a demon could make things worse, but others believe he may already be past that point. So what do you think? Is this truly a demon? Or is there another explanation behind the violence in his home? Now, doll collectors are often misunderstood. To most people, collecting dolls sounds harmless, nostalgic, even comforting. But what many don't realize is that some collectors actively seek out dolls with history, dolls that were loved intensely, abandoned suddenly, passed through multiple owners, or tied to trauma. In this clip, a woman who openly documents her collection of dolls with deep and unsettling backstories shares what happened after acquiring a particularly infamous one. The doll is known as Raggedy Ann Janet, located in the UK and already surrounded by disturbing rumors long before she ever laid eyes on it. Previous owners had reportedly complained about unexplained noises, object shifting, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched, especially at night. Despite the warnings, she felt drawn to Janet and eventually brought the doll into her home. Almost immediately, she began noticing classic poltergeist-style activity. Objects would move without explanation. Doors creaked open on their own, and the most unsettling part, these events didn't feel random. They felt deliberate, as if something was testing boundaries, pushing limits, and making its presence known. Despite knowing all these, she wanted to confirm.
So Janet's been with us for a few days. Bobby's dropped her off. a few things have been moving around this room lately. Janet, is it you that's doing it? Oh my god, thank you.
For her, the signs were enough. Janet wasn't just another piece in her collection. Something about this doll felt active, aware, and intrusive. And now the question remains, is Janet simply an object carrying residual energy from past owners? Or did bringing her home invite something that was never meant to follow? Either way, the activity surrounding this doll has left viewers deeply unsettled. And until more updates are shared, this case continues to raise an uncomfortable question about how much of the past we unknowingly invite into our homes. This next video is an update from the same man who previously shared how everything in his apartment changed the moment he brought a set of old toys home. Watch closely.
Se sigue escuchando, la verdad ya no soporto estar aquí. Ya no aguanto. ¿Qué será? No hay nada, raza. Esto ya se está saliendo de control, raza. Ya no puedo estar aquí, raza.
As he moves through the apartment trying to locate the source of the noise, a figure is briefly caught on camera. Even though something in him feels like the toys are connected, he wants clearer proof, something undeniable. But viewers say the signs have been there all along. For example, take a look at one of the nights he couldn't sleep at all.
Raza, son las 3 de la mañana, se siguen escuchando muchos ruidos allá afuera. Quieren abrir la puerta, raza. ¿Qué está pasando? Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío, líbrame del mal. Desde que compré ese espejo, raza. Ay.
What worries him the most is that whatever's in his apartment doesn't seem anchored to a single location. It chooses different areas, almost like it's rotating spots. One night, it was his bedroom. Watch.
Se escucha que están rasguñando abajo de la cama. No hay nadie, raza, a la madre. ¿Qué rollo? ¿Qué está pasando?
Something was scratching under his bed, and while some suggested the mirror near his bed could be acting as a trigger, that theory started to fall apart after this next clip surfaced.
Quieren prender la luz, raza. Esto está saliendo de control, raza. No se escucha que le pegan al tanque allá afuera. Eso se está saliendo mucho de control, raza. No sé qué está pasando, la verdad, raza. Pero a ese tanque le pegan. Ya es el segundo día desde que están pasando estas cosas y alguien que me pueda ayudar, déjenme en los comentarios, por favor. Gente, esto ya se salió de control, gente. Ya no puedo más aquí, gente. Ayuda. ¿Qué quieres? Déjenme en paz. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Quién eres? ¿Quién eres? ¿Qué quieres?
At this point, the activity is no longer subtle. The voice he hears at night is clearer and deeply unsettling. He's reached the point where he locks himself in one part of the apartment at night, afraid of what he might encounter if he walks into another room. And what makes this even more disturbing is the pattern. Whatever's in the apartment seems to choose where it stays. For days, it stayed in the kitchen, then it shifted to the laundry room. Now, it appears to have claimed the bathroom.
Están tocando la puerta del baño. Desde que compré estos espejos están pasando todas las cosas. Selma.
He's asking for help, desperately, but most viewers are saying the answer is already right in front of him. Get rid of the dolls. But is it really that simple? Are the dolls the source, or are they just vessels for something that was already looking for a way in? In this next clip, a woman named Haley set out on what was supposed to be a calm, grounding escape into the Appalachian wilderness, a place known for its beauty, isolation, and deeply rooted folklore. But not long into her walk, something felt off.
I just realized this is like the perfect place to come and sit and smoke. Cause look at this. Sit right here. Hell yeah. It's my view. Y'all, a cigarette right now. I don't even smoke cigarettes, but it warm you up, you know? I'm cold. I felt like there's somebody behind me, but cool. So this is as close as I'm going to get, but y'all can see it's like angled and it goes into the mountain. It doesn't look like it, but it's a little bit more deeper here. My feet would get wet, and these shoes, yeah, no, and it's cold. But yeah, I'm about to head out of here because my feelings been I don't know. It don't feel right now. But yeah, I don't have service. No, this is the worst part about exploring here is when you get like that. When you get the feeling that you're being watched or followed, you can't. It's a little bit of a ways to get back to where you came from. Over there.
If you listen carefully, a voice can be heard quietly saying, "Hey." What makes this moment especially unsettling is that the voice sounds disturbingly similar to Haley's own. At the time she was recording, she didn't hear it at all. Instead, what she felt was something harder to ignore, a sudden sensation that someone was standing directly behind her. In paranormal folklore, especially in Appalachian legends, encounters like this are often linked to something known as a mimic, entities said to imitate human voices to lure people into responding. That's why many believe the worst thing you can do in situations like this is acknowledge the voice, especially out loud. Responding is believed to give whatever's their permission, or at the very least confirmation that you heard it. Some say mimics rely on familiarity, using your own voice or the voice of someone you trust to lower your guard. Others believe they test boundaries first, watching how you react before escalating, and then there are those who think these encounters aren't meant to chase you, but to mark you. So, was this just an audio coincidence paired with anxiety in an isolated place? Or did Haley narrowly avoid something far more disturbing by trusting her instincts and leaving when she did? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. The following video was recorded by Francisco, a man who works at the Gallup Indian Medical Center, a place known for late-night emergencies, long quiet hallways, and the kind of unexplained noises staff usually try not to think too much about. Things fall on their own sometimes. Doors close when no one's around, and workers have shared stories of hearing footsteps long after the wards are empty. And on this particular evening, Francisco had his own experience. He was the only person left at work around 5 p.m. when he started hearing things.
And I'm just recording because I don't know who it could be or anyone's here. It's just me here. It's like 5 o'clock and nobody's here and I'm the only one here ready to leave. Hello? 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 because there's nobody here. Hello? 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 Where is it coming from? There's nobody. I don't know where that noise is coming from. Hello? Anybody here?
He kept walking from one section of the office to another, checking every corner, every hallway, but there was nothing. Yet the knocking continued, clear, deliberate. And according to some beliefs, when a knock happens 3 times, it's not always a person. Some say it's a way for a spirit to mimic human behavior. Others believe it's a warning or a way to get someone's attention. Unsettled and unable to shake the experience, Francisco went straight to the security unit to explain what had happened. But when they pulled up the feed, no one was there. Just Francisco, and whoever or whatever wanted him to know he wasn't alone. Now Francisco is left with one question. If this happens again, what's he supposed to do? Ignore it, confront it, or leave it completely alone? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. This next clip was captured around 3 AM by a family you might remember from a previous video on this channel, but let me give you a quick rundown so you're not lost. It all started on random nights when their daughter would suddenly wake up crying, and while they were trying to calm her down, they'd hear someone knocking on their front door. At first it seemed harmless, maybe a confused neighbor, maybe someone who had the wrong apartment, the kind of thing you brush off because you don't want to assume the worst. But it kept happening, night after night. Same soft knocking, same timing, and eventually curiosity got the best of them. One night, the father finally decided to check, and when he opened the door, there was a figure standing right outside. People who watched that first clip said the family made a huge mistake opening the door at that hour, because whatever that figure was, it's like something shifted after that moment. The knocking stopped, but other things started happening. Watch this.
Se están escuchando ruidos en la parte de abajo de la casa. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. ¿Ya vieron el sillón? Se estaba moviendo, lo juro por Dios. Cada vez se empeora más esto. ¿Quién anda ahí? Buenas. Estoy bastante preocupado, se escucha ahora ruidos ahí arriba. Sea lo que seas, no perteneces aquí. No sé qué quieras. Vete de aquí, por favor. ¿Quién diablos prendió la televisión? Esta tele también.
Now the TV turns on by itself at night, and the rocking chair in the living room moves on its own. Slow, steady, like someone invisible has settled into it and is gently rocking back and forth. Viewers believe whatever had been knocking might have slipped inside when the door opened, almost as if the opening itself acted like an invitation. Others think the presence had been waiting for acknowledgement, and that moment at the door was the confirmation it needed. And with the rocking, the electronics flickering and powering on, and the strange, heavy silence where the knocking used to be, a lot of people feel this might only be the beginning of something more intense in that house. But what do you think is happening here? And what exactly can a family do in a situation like this? They might just be reading the comments looking for answers. The following clip has sparked a debate among believers and skeptics, and it all centers on a woman named Sydney and her sister Gretchen, Gretch as she calls her, who rented an Airbnb for a wedding they had that weekend. Only a few minutes after settling in, Sydney stepped out to walk the dog, but when she came back inside, this is what she met.
Great. Touch it. Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
The curtain, the balloon, and the dog's leash that suddenly flung into the air on the staircase like someone yanked it upward. Skeptics immediately jumped in, insisting it was just the wind, or maybe the house settling, but others pushed back, pointing out how each object moved, almost as if something was interacting with them. Sydney and Gretch couldn't shake the feeling that something about this place was off, but it was only their first hour in the house, and leaving right away felt like they'd be overreacting. And besides, the dog seemed calm, which most people agreed was a sign there was nothing to worry about, but soon that would change.
Okay, so this is the leash. If this moves, I'm literally going to run. There she goes again. I don't think the leash is gonna move, but she's definitely sensing something. Every single day.
With the way the dog was reacting, there's definitely something on those stairs. It wasn't the curious kind of sniffing dogs do when they pick up a new scent. This was cautious, stiff, almost like he was bracing for whatever he sensed up there. And to make matters worse, one viewer commented that she actually recognized the Airbnb because of the carpet pattern, and claimed someone had died on those exact steps. Some believe that kind of energy can linger, attaching itself to the place and replaying moments of fear. Others think trauma can open a doorway, like the house becomes a magnet for things that don't belong in this world anymore. Sydney, determined to make sense of what was going on, began quietly looking around the house, checking corners and details she'd ignored when they first arrived. That's when she discovered something that might be the missing piece to their puzzle. Watch this.
Okay, so I think I figured out why my dog just is always hanging out right here. So I just found a door back here. So I don't think that it's what's on the stairs. I think it's something that's underneath. So I tried to check, but the door is locked. Obviously it's an Airbnb, so they lock a lot of the doors up, but so yeah, I don't think that it's what's on the stairs, like what I initially thought. I think it's what's below. I'm gonna find out at this point.
Now that they'd found a locked basement under the stairs, things finally began to add up. Sydney couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was happening on those steps, whatever her dog kept sensing and pacing around, was connected to whatever was sealed behind that door. It was almost like the dog was reacting to something moving underneath them, something it could feel but they couldn't. Curious and honestly a little desperate for answers, Sydney slid her phone under the door to see what might be inside. Watch this.
So this is the switch. You guys can see their light is on right there. I wonder if
just maybe there's someone right behind the door. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god, did that just happen?
The doorknob suddenly moved, like someone was trying to open it from the inside. At that point, the ladies were terrified, their thoughts going in every direction. At first, they tried to think logically. They even wondered if someone might actually be living down there because they'd experienced something similar at another Airbnb where the host was secretly double renting rooms. But when they checked the house again and found no one there, that theory fell apart, leaving them with something much more unsettling. After taking a moment to breathe and think through what just happened, the sisters decided to try again, this time hoping to catch whatever was turning the doorknob. But something even more terrifying happened. Have a look.
Scary. Okay, every time we've knocked before, this doorknob would turn a little bit.
Something yanked the phone straight out of Sydney's hand from the basement, and when the phone landed down there was no visible person in sight. Yet the phone kept moving, almost like it was being dragged or nudged by something just out of frame. Viewers started speculating immediately. Some thought someone was hiding in the shadows, others swore it looked like the phone was being pulled by an invisible force, the way objects shift during severe residual hauntings. They called the host, who eventually came over to unlock the basement so Sydney could retrieve her phone. But when he arrived, Sydney and her sister noticed something they couldn't ignore. Watch.
But there's no reason for me to go that way. but I'm waiting to start hearing things from coming underneath my house. That's it. I'm out of here. Going under the door. Okay, well, door two, it's creepy.
Thank you.
The host had a tattoo of nested triangles on his right palm, and several viewers said they would bet anything that he knew more about that room than he was letting on. The symbol itself sent the comment section spiraling. Many viewers immediately recognized the symbol, saying it's associated with occult practices, protection marks, or rituals involving gateways or sealed rooms. The fact that this symbol was on his hand and the basement was locked under the stairs sent people into a frenzy. A few even suggested the tattoo might mean he tried sealing something in that basement, and that whatever it was might not be fully contained anymore. The situation worried a lot of people. Viewers kept asking for details, urging the sisters to leave the Airbnb immediately. Some even insisted they could get a refund if the host failed to disclose that someone else might also be renting the space. Eventually, Sydney responded with this update.
Okay, so I sent the video to the landlord of the Airbnb, and hold on, let me turn on the light. Okay, I sent the video to the landlord of the Airbnb asking, like, hey, is there someone else renting it out as well as us or what? Because there's a room under the stairs that we can't get into. It's locked, so I didn't know. And basically he was like, no, you guys are the only ones that are in the Airbnb right now, like booked out for the week. So okay, kind of feel relieved in a way, because I think it would be really weird and kind of creepy if there were people staying there as well that we didn't know about. But yeah, he didn't seem worried at all about it, so we'll see.
Now, Sydney is convinced they aren't dealing with a simple rental mishap. With the unexplained movement, the dog's behavior, the locked basement, the shaking doorknob, the phone being pulled, and the host's unsettling tattoo, it's getting harder and harder to deny that something else might be in that house. So what was in the basement? A spirit trying to get out? Or something trying very hard to keep others from getting in? You decide. The following clip was recorded by a team of paranormal investigators who decided to livestream their exploration of an abandoned house, allowing viewers to witness in real time what they described as one of the most aggressive environments they had ever entered. A place where silence never truly felt empty and every step seemed to disturb something that did not want to be found. Almost immediately after entering, the atmosphere inside the house felt heavy and unwelcoming. The kind of oppressive stillness investigators often associate with locations that have been abandoned for long periods. Places where memories, trauma, and emotional energy are believed to linger without interruption, slowly shaping the environment into something far more hostile over time.
Aoleu, a spart bateria. Băi, bă, a rămas bateria acolo, băi. Nu mai cânta, băi, nu mai cânta, băi, omule, băi. Băi, oprește-te, băi. Bă, oprește-te, băi, că s-o dișălat bateria aici, am cațaș. Fugi. Fugi. Dă-i tare. Dai, măi, oleacă. Uite ce-am făcut aici. Ale pe bune. O început cânta Ionuț acolo în cameră, dărâmat dulapul de tot.
Doamne Iisuse Hristoase, Dumnezeul nostru, Cel ce a făcut cerul și pământul, marea și toate cerele.
Aoleu, a spart bateria. Băi.
Objects inside the house suddenly begin scattering violently, shifting and falling with force in a way that makes it clear this is not the result of simple structural instability or natural movement, but something deliberate, something reacting to their presence as if disturbed by the intrusion. Many paranormal researchers believe abandoned buildings become ideal environments for darker entities, especially because they remain undisturbed for years, allowing whatever presence exists there to grow stronger without resistance, feeding off isolation, decay, and the absence of human activity, until the moment someone enters and disrupts that balance. But this was not the only time they captured something disturbing. During another live stream at a completely different abandoned house, the investigators experienced something that left both them and their viewers shaken. Watch.
Da cu casetofonul ăsta mini, da cu dulapul mini. Oricare spirit ai aflat aici, oricare... Ce-a fost asta? Ce-a fost asta? S-a disfăcut sertarul în capul.
Ferească-mă Dumnezeu, dacă nu mai citesc o dată.
Fai de capul, mă, dacă nu nebunesc. Uitați, uite spiritul cum trece pe aici, uite, uite. Da cu dulapul mini. Îți ordon oricare spirit ai aflat, oricare...
Ce-ai zis așa, mai?
Nu, am stricat tot, gata.
De ce ai zis să-i nu trebuia să zici?
Vai de capul,
o rup priză, o rup toată.
Pleacă, gata.
Ți-am zis să nu zici. Ai zis să dea cu dulapul în tine, de ce ai zis?
Vai de capul meu.
Nu trebuia să zici.
În fața mea, Ionuț.
Hai de mine, nu trebuia să zici. Nu trebuia să cânt nicio aia.
Pardon, oricare spirit te afla, oricare...
Ăsta pe bunii de mână, pe bunii de la mare.
Na, Ionuț.
Nu-ți de aminte de ei. ci cochii, ci căcatul ăștia.
A, tu cu moliftele tale, cu astea.
Nu, e de la molift.
Nu e de la molift.
Ai zis tu.
Am zis eu.
First, some viewers tried to dismiss what appeared on camera as nothing more than dust particles or light reflecting off debris in the air, but that explanation quickly becomes difficult to accept when you notice the timing. The formation appears almost immediately after one of the investigators directly asks if any spirits are present, as if responding to the question itself. And then, only moments later, the shelf suddenly comes crashing down with force, violently collapsing in a way that suggests something far stronger than coincidence. Whatever was inside that house was strong enough to disrupt the environment, strong enough to respond, and strong enough to make it clear that it did not want them there. And encounters like this are exactly why investigators warn that some abandoned places are not empty at all, they are occupied. We can only hope that whatever was strong enough to cause that level of destruction never follows anyone home. This next video was captured by a woman's CCTV camera, and when she reviewed the footage later that morning, she noticed something that immediately made her stop and replay the moment over and over again, because what appeared on the screen didn't resemble anything she could explain through normal means. Watch.
All right, you guys, this happened. So much shit happened yesterday, it's not even funny. On the 17th yesterday at 6:55 a.m., look at the car cruising by slowly, but that's not it, y'all. Let me know if I'm tripping, y'all. Let me know. At 6:55. Now, hold on, y'all. 3 minutes later, let's get to it. Here he comes. Hold on, let me show y'all the time. So y'all, 3 minutes later, after this car, come on, man, talk to me. Hold on, y'all, watch it. No, let's play it back one more time. Y'all played this video over and over and over again, because I was like, hold on, is it a headlamp? Watch, that's his eyes, y'all. Man, let's do it again. This is the part right here. Hold on. No, did you see how it went? Y'all, I can't do it, man. I can't. Where you at? Watch how it goes. It already did it. Y'all, did you see how it's going inside of his face, though? Like a headlamp. No, that part right there. Hold on. I went live. Watch this light. I went live a few hours later. This is yesterday too, about 7:30. Look at that. For those of you who was on my live, as long as you receive my love and you give back love, I love you. Oh, and you can hear the click, y'all. And you can hear the click. But as long as you receive my love and you give back love, I love you. Oh, so what was that? What was that flashlight? Now this last video, I'm gonna have to upload it by itself because y'all need to hear the sound. This was also the 17th. This was at 10:30, about 10:30 p.m. same day.
At first glance, it's easy to assume the light could be coming from a headlamp or perhaps some kind of reflection from a passing vehicle, but that explanation quickly falls apart the moment you focus on the details. The light is positioned directly where the eyes would be, and doesn't behave like light reflecting. After this, she began noticing other strange changes around her property. Her motion alerts became more frequent, even on nights when there were no animals, no people, and no environmental triggers that could explain the activity. Sometimes the cameras would activate repeatedly within minutes of each other, as if something was pacing just outside her home, staying close but never fully revealing itself. Another night, she captured something even stranger, this time on her phone. Watch.
I saw you. The two glowing eyes right there. In between the two trees. Right there. It just did something. What is that? Oh, y'all see it. Y'all see it. Oh, shit. Oh, oh, oh. 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 Oh, shit. Oh, it's a light beam. It's a light beam. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Y'all see it? You guys. It's too much. It's a lot just happened. Like, I'm waiting for my son. That was the ET I saw behind. Y'all, I seen it right here through the rearview mirror, the side mirror. I caught it, like the last part of it going by, and I'm trying to see which side did it go to.
In the footage, what appears to be a concentrated mass of light briefly forms and moves in a way that feels controlled rather than random, which has led many viewers to speculate that it could be what paranormal researchers sometimes describe as an energy manifestation, a form entities are believed to take when they do not have enough strength to fully appear as a solid figure. These manifestations are often described as existing somewhere between visible and invisible, appearing as glowing forms, flickers, or silhouettes made of light rather than matter. Some believe these forms are used to observe, to move quietly without being fully seen, especially in the early stages of a haunting when whatever is present has not yet fully anchored itself to the location. But the situation became even more unsettling when her CCTV camera captured something else. Listen closely. Heavy footsteps can be heard moving through the area, accompanied by raspy, unnatural sounds that don't resemble speech, breathing, or any known animal. For weeks now, she says it feels like something has been watching her. Her cameras activate almost every night, and the activity always happens in patterns, never random, as if whatever it is knows exactly where she is and when she is most vulnerable. Also, she's been having nightmares, but there's one in particular that left her deeply shaken. She describes dreaming about Egypt, about standing alone while what looked like an army of dark figures rushed toward her. She remembers waking up not in her bed, but in her driveway, disoriented, with no memory of how she got there. Since then, she has also reported hearing tapping on her walls at night, faint at first, but persistent, sometimes moving from one side of the house to another, as if something is trying to find a way in. Some believe the activity may have first attached itself to the location outside, possibly drawn to the property or passing through the area, and that by reviewing the footage repeatedly, focusing on it, and giving it attention, she may have unknowingly encouraged it to come closer. Attention is often described as a form of invitation, acknowledgement that can strengthen a presence and allow it to transition from being something that lingers outside to something that begins to enter. Whether this is a series of camera anomalies, sleep disturbances influencing perception, or something far more sinister slowly closing in, for now, it remains a mystery. The following video comes from another haunted home, this one owned by a woman named Lauren, who says the activity inside her house has been escalating steadily over time, shifting from small, dismissible moments to patterns that feel intentional, calculated, and increasingly difficult to ignore. Before this particular night, Lauren had already documented multiple unsettling incidents. She discovered footprints appearing on her floors that didn't match the size or shape of anyone living in the house, some smaller than an adult's, others oddly shaped, as if the impression was incomplete, like something tried to step into the physical world but didn't fully succeed. She has also described repeatedly seeing figures move at the edge of her vision, never directly in front of her, always just beyond clear sight, forcing her to question whether she imagined it, until it kept happening. There have been voices too, faint at first, almost blending into background noise, but clear enough that she knew they weren't coming from outside. Voices heard while she was completely alone. She has also watched objects shift subtly from where she left them, doors creak open after being firmly closed, and small items fall without any visible cause. Individually, each of these events could be explained away, but together, they form something far more disturbing. One night, just as Lauren was about to go to bed, she heard noises again, and instead of ignoring it, she reached for her phone and began recording. Watch.
Having to go upstairs and check something because I just heard a noise. Did you hear that? Okay. Okay. It's time to go back. Thought I heard something. I don't know. What was that? What was that? Okay.
If you listen closely, you can hear what sounds like children playing, and the unsettling part is that there are no children there. Childlike voices are sometimes associated with what investigators call mimic entities, presences that imitate innocence to appear less threatening, slowly building comfort before escalating activity. Others believe residual hauntings can replay fragments of past life, like recordings embedded into the structure of a house, looping moments that once happened there. But the activity Lauren describes doesn't feel residual. So for now, Lauren continues to document everything, hoping to eventually understand what's sharing her home with her. Until then, this chilling case remains unexplained. Now, in this next video, a family claims they have been dealing with what they believe are mimics inside their home, and according to them, this wasn't the first strange incident. For months leading up to this night, they had reported hearing their names being called from empty rooms, footsteps pacing upstairs when no one was there, and doors opening shortly after they were shut. On more than one occasion, the children insisted they heard their mother calling them from the hallway, only to find her downstairs the entire time. At first, the parents assumed it was imagination or acoustics playing tricks on them, but the pattern became harder to dismiss when the voices began perfectly matching their tones. One night, the father was still at work when something deeply unsettling happened. Watch.
A ver, vamos. Ya saben que no es papá, ¿eh? Ya saben que no es papá. Tranquilos.
Vengan, vengan. Córranle, vengan. Miren a la mano que les compré. Les va a gustar, vénganse.
Amigos, mi esposo no puede ser.
Ale.
Mi esposo
Ven,
salió.
mamacita. Ven, Alexa. Ven, mamá. Mira lo que te compré, hija.
Mi esposo no es, amigos. Mi esposo
Ven,
no
niña. Ven, corazón. ¡Chamacos!
Mamá, ese no es mi
¡Chamacos!
No, mi amor, ya sé.
cierra.
¡Vengan!
Tranquilos.
¡Vengan!
In the recording, a voice can be heard clearly calling out from inside the house. It sounds exactly like the father, but when the wife immediately messages her husband to ask why he's calling out instead of simply coming inside, his reply sends a chill through her. He's still at work, and even if he had arrived, there would be no reason to stand downstairs repeatedly calling their names instead of walking in and greeting them like he always does. Mimic entities are considered especially disturbing because they do not simply produce random noises. They imitate. They study, they replicate voices with precision, often targeting close family members to create confusion and draw someone toward the sound. Some believe these entities feed on reaction and fear, growing bolder the more attention they receive. Others warn that responding directly to a mimic, especially by calling back or searching for it, can escalate activity. But what do you think? An elaborate audio illusion, a psychological misinterpretation, or something far darker? You decide. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Blackford County Jail, a location widely regarded as one of the most feared and talked about haunted buildings in the state of Indiana. Its aging corridors and rusted cell blocks carrying decades of violent history, failed escapes, and stories that many believe never truly ended. At around 3 a.m., after a night already filled with strange and difficult to explain occurrences, Ian makes his way into the men's cell block, carefully stepping between the narrow rows of iron bars while documenting the area with his camera, hoping to capture anything unusual that might reveal itself in the stillness of the empty prison. But while reviewing the photographs he had just taken, he notices something deeply unsettling. Staring back at him from inside one of the cells are what appear to be a pair of eyes, clearly visible through the bars, fixed directly in his direction despite the fact that he is completely alone inside the building. And this is where things start to get even more disturbing. Only seconds later, his voice recorder captures a chilling message.
Like you're supposed to be.
At the time, Ian doesn't fully understand the meaning behind the words or the danger they may represent, but what happens next makes it clear that whatever is present inside the cell block is not passive and not willing to be ignored. Moments later, this happened.
Holy shit. Hello? What the fuck was that? Oh my god. Oh. I've had enough. I've had enough. Oh. That was in this cell. That was in here. What the heck was that? Whoa. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Look at, dude, holy shit. Something fucking just destroyed that cell.
Without warning, the mattress resting on one of the cots suddenly lifts into the air with enough force to separate from the metal frame, before violently slamming back down onto the bed. Although he didn't capture the movement on camera, the sound alone is enough to confirm that something happened in that room. Despite the fear and despite every instinct telling him to leave, Ian chose to stay, holding on to the promise he had made to himself long ago, that this time he would not run. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. This footage dates back to August 2025 and was captured by a security camera inside a family home. A woman who's been fighting a slow, exhausting mystery within her own walls. One that didn't begin with terror, but with small things that felt off. At first, it was easy to ignore. Toys would turn up in strange places, nowhere near where her child left them. Doors she distinctly remembers locking the night before would be standing open by morning, but what unsettled her most was something harder to explain. Every now and then, the house would suddenly fill with a smell, sharp, sterile, like medicine, or cold metal, with no source she could identify. For nearly 3 years, she tried to approach it rationally, but nothing stopped the feeling that something wasn't right. Eventually, she installed security cameras throughout the house and began checking the footage whenever she could. On August 23rd, 2025, the cameras finally captured something she wasn't prepared for. The first clip was recorded while her young son was asleep and she was taking a bath. The second clip is even stranger. It was early in the morning, and if you pay close attention, you'll notice that she enters the frame from the opposite direction the figure had just been moving, meaning whatever appears on camera wasn't following her. It was already there. She's hoping someone could help debunk it or point her toward a real explanation. So, what do you think? The following video was captured by CCTV inside a hospital, a place that never truly sleeps. Even late at night, the halls are filled with quiet movement. Nurses checking vitals, machines humming softly, families drifting in and out of wards. But on this particular night, something else may have been moving too. You can see what appears to be the figure of a small child, standing completely still. It doesn't move toward anyone, it doesn't react, it simply stands there, as if waiting. Moments later, the parents of one of the patients walk directly through the figure, and they clearly have no idea anything unusual just happened. Hospitals are often described as some of the most active locations when it comes to unexplained encounters. They're places where fear, grief, hope, and loss all exist at the same time, and many believe that kind of emotional weight leaves something behind. So, was this just a trick of shadows and lighting, or did the camera capture something most people walk past every day, without ever knowing it's there? This footage dates back to 2018 and was captured by a security camera inside a man's store. The store itself is an open-air garage with nearly 20-foot high ceilings, wide open space, and clear sight lines, the kind of place where movement is hard to miss. That afternoon, the owner was alone in his store when this happened. Out of nowhere, his sunglasses drop to the floor. At first glance, it might seem harmless. Maybe they fell off a shelf or were knocked over. But when he reviewed the CCTV footage, he realized something terrifying. No one walked in, nothing passed by. There was no gust of wind, no vibration, and no visible cause. The sunglasses didn't slide or tip over. It flew, as if it had been thrown. Many suggest the possibility of an unseen presence interacting with the environment, something strong enough to move a physical object, yet invisible to the camera. And in a wide open space like this, with nowhere to hide, that possibility becomes even harder to ignore. What do you think happened here? A freak accident, or something watching him work, waiting for the moment to make itself known? You be the judge. In this next video, a man who owns a Mexican seafood restaurant began noticing strange, almost unexplainable movements inside his business. At first, it was easy to brush them off. Small things that could be blamed on long hours, exhaustion, or simple coincidence. Glasses weren't where they were left. Items behind the bar seemed slightly out of place. And sometimes, there was the unsettling feeling that something had moved when no one was nearby. At first, he didn't think much of it, but that changed once the security cameras started catching things he just couldn't understand. In the first video, the man is about to serve a drink, and if you look closely at the tray, one of the shot glasses suddenly moves on its own. He notices it, pauses for a moment, then brushes it off, assuming he imagined it. But the activity didn't stop there. Another clip shows one of the bartenders holding a bottle when, without warning, the neck of the bottle snaps clean off in his hand. Then comes another piece of footage. A bottle shifting on its own, sliding without anyone touching it. At this point, some might argue it only happens during busy working hours. Vibrations, movement, people nearby. But the most unsettling moment comes later, when the restaurant is completely closed. The security camera records creepy audio, faint whispers, low voices, sounds that shouldn't be there when the place is empty. Now the staff can't help but wonder whether these are just a series of bizarre coincidences, or signs that something else may be sharing their restaurant with them. Is it too early to call it haunted, or is this exactly the moment they should start paying closer attention and looking for answers? A woman named Mel and her family had just left their house for a quiet weekend getaway when her phone suddenly buzzed with a Ring camera notification, one that shocked the living daylight out of her. Watch this. On the footage, something or someone opens the front door, allowing her dogs to walk outside freely. What makes this unsettling is that when Mel checked the indoor cameras, there was no one visible inside the house. The door simply opens. Imagine being miles away from a home you're certain you locked, only to watch it open on its own. At that moment, Mel's biggest concern wasn't even the door, it was her dogs. She immediately called her neighbors and asked them to help. Thankfully, they were able to get the dogs safely back inside. Needless to say, that weekend getaway ended right there. This terrifying footage was captured by a nearby house security camera. A guy had just arrived at his mom's place and stepped out of his car to offload a few things, but the camera caught something he didn't notice at the time. You'll see what looks like a human figure walking slowly out of the woods. At first glance, it's easy to miss, but as the figure approaches the car, it suddenly bows down, and then drops straight out of sight, disappearing completely. That's where the speculation begins. People say this could be a phantom person, a phenomenon many believe isn't a myth at all, but something that's been reported for centuries. Stories describe these figures as appearing briefly, often near roads, trees, or homes, only to vanish in ways that don't match human movement. Some say phantom people aren't spirits in the traditional sense, but residual figures, moments caught between time, replaying fragments of something that once happened there. So what do you think? A coincidence caught at the wrong moment, or something ancient and very real stepping briefly into view? This footage dates back to 2017, when a woman was simply trying to get some work done, but whatever was in the room with her clearly wasn't ready to let her focus. At first, the security camera captures something subtle. The chair shifts slightly. It's easy to dismiss. Chairs move sometimes, but then it slides farther than it should, before slowly drifting back into place, almost carefully. And when that didn't get her attention, whatever was there escalated. An object close to her, a bottle on the table, suddenly tips over and falls. That finally makes her react. She looks up, clearly confused, trying to make sense of what just happened. But it doesn't stop there. Moments later, her own chair is pulled backward, forcefully enough to break the illusion of coincidence entirely. This wasn't something falling, this wasn't gravity, this was interaction. And here's the detail that unsettles many viewers the most. If you increase the brightness of the footage, you can see what appears to be a faint silhouette moving backward in sync with the chair, as if something unseen is physically pulling it away from her. So here's the question that stays with viewers long after the clip ends. Was this something trying to frighten her, or something that had been there all along, finally making sure she noticed? You decide. The following footage was captured by a CCTV camera inside a local store late at night, long after the doors had been locked and everyone had gone home. Almost immediately, the internet split into debate. Some say it's nothing more than a draft, a random gust of air moving the toy across the floor. But skeptics were quick to point out how unlikely that explanation is. The toy doesn't slide or tip over. It rolls smoothly, almost as if it's being guided. Others suggested the toy had been left switched on, and that a faulty motor caused it to move on its own. On paper, that sounds reasonable. But here's where the explanation starts to fall apart. According to the store owner, the toy hadn't been touched for hours, and the store was completely empty at the time. What unsettled many viewers even more was the way the wheels moved. Several people slowed the footage down frame by frame, pointing out that the motion didn't look random or jerky. It looked controlled, like someone was pushing it just enough to make it roll. Locals familiar with the store claim strange things have been happening there for years, items falling from shelves when no one is nearby, and faint footsteps heard after closing hours. So, what do you think? Was this nothing more than physics and a malfunctioning toy? Or did the security camera accidentally capture something unseen, quietly passing the time, playing with a toy when it thought no one was watching? This footage was captured by a security camera installed in a basement. One evening, the homeowner went downstairs to grab a few things when he got distracted by a message on his phone. He sat down, unaware that the camera behind him was recording something he wouldn't notice until much later. Out of nowhere, the calendar is ripped off the wall. 2 pages tear clean through as it comes down, and when he checked the wall afterward, the nail was still firmly in place. Even stranger, when he picked the calendar back up and tried to hang it again, the hole lined up perfectly with the nail, meaning the paper didn't stretch, tear open, or rip downward the way it normally would if gravity alone caused it to fall. Some viewers pointed out the dog's reaction, or lack of one. Instead of barking or panicking, the dog simply moves away, as if giving space to something it sensed but didn't want to confront. What do you think? A man's brother came to stay over for a few days, and just a few hours after settling into the house, he had the feeling someone was shifting the bed in the guest room. He brushed it off, but as the night went on, the details stopped adding up. Eventually, the man decided to go back through the family's CCTV footage to see if anything unusual had been captured. Something was moving. But here's the problem. This is at least a queen-size bed, and his brother's wife is noticeably shorter, and from her sleeping position, her legs shouldn't even reach that far. Yet in the footage, her left leg flicks sharply and unnaturally, far faster and farther than would be possible for someone side sleeping in that position. So is something sharing the bed with them? You be the judge. This mysterious video was posted on Reddit, and ever since, people have gone into overdrive trying to analyze what they're seeing. While a family was out for the evening, with no one left behind in the house, their security camera captured something completely horrifying. What appears in the footage looks disturbingly like a small child walking through the house. When the family received a motion alert and checked the footage, they were immediately shaken. There were no children in the home and no pets. When they returned, still trying to rationalize what they'd seen, they reached out to the previous owners to ask if they had ever experienced anything strange while living there. That's when things got worse. The former occupants responded by sending their own video, footage from their Ring camera showing multiple orbs drifting around the property at night. They admitted they'd always felt like something was in the house with them. Then came another disturbing detail. The previous owners said their time in the house was marked by constant arguments, tension that seemed to come out of nowhere. Eventually, their marriage collapsed and they divorced, selling the house shortly after. Sadly, at the time this ghost child video was posted, the new owners were also in the middle of a divorce. And just like before, the house had gone back on the market. Different families, same house, same feeling, same ending. So is this just an unsettling coincidence? Or is there something about that house that doesn't let families stay whole? You decide. The following video is a chilling reminder of why kids shouldn't be left alone outside at night. A young girl who had always dreamed of becoming a content creator decided to film herself at a park not far from her house. It was quiet, familiar, and felt safe, so she set up her camera, excited to record her video. But while she was focused on creating, something else was already there, watching, and waiting in silence. Watch.
Acompáñenme a grabar en una plaza enorme. Bueno, no le dimos importancia. Miren, toda la plaza. Ahora voy a poner el trípode aquí para que, bueno. Hay alguien. Estaba, miren. Eso. O sea.
Shortly after she starts filming, she notices a figure standing far off in the distance. At first, she tries to ignore it, convincing herself it's probably just someone passing by. But then, the figure moves, suddenly appearing in a different position. This time, it has her full attention. And then, it waves at her. The distance, the silence, the way it moves, none of it feels right, so she quickly decides to hide.
Hay una persona y tengo... Ahí viene, chicos. Bueno, chicos, estoy aquí adentro, pero... Chicos... Voy a limpiarle un poquito la cámara.
What makes this even more disturbing is that she didn't hear footsteps, no sound of movement, yet somehow, whoever, or whatever that figure is, continues getting closer, moving unnaturally fast between positions. And then, it appears right in front of her.
Chicos, tengo mucho miedo. Chicos, literalmente había una persona persiguiéndome. Chicos, entré abajo de la estructura en donde estaba el muñeco ese. Ay no, chicos, tengo mucho miedo. Se agacha. Chicos, desapareció. Se escuchan pasos arriba. Aquí abajo tengo mucho miedo.
Viewers were left deeply unsettled. Some believe it could be a shadow entity, something known to observe from a distance before approaching. Others say entities like this often appear in isolated places, especially at night, drawn to people who are alone and vulnerable. What troubles people most is how quickly it moved, and how silently it closed the distance, but to some, it was staged, or a prank. But I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. In this next clip, a man who works at a warehouse had been dealing with things he couldn't explain for weeks. It started small, hearing footsteps in empty aisles long after his coworkers had gone home. Sometimes he'd hear the sound of boxes shifting, like someone was moving inventory in the distance, but every time he checked, nothing was out of place. There were nights when he felt watched, especially near the back storage area where the lights didn't reach as well, and more than once, he heard what sounded like breathing behind him. Slow, quiet, only for the space behind him to be completely empty. One night during his shift, he decided to start recording, and that's when he caught this. Watch.
Quiero que chequen algo en esa tarima de ahí. Eso. Y chequen, estoy yo solo.
A figure passes by in the distance, but the moment he looks directly at where it should be, there's no one there. Some believe this could be what's known as a residual presence, something tied to the location itself, replaying movements over and over like a recording trapped in time. Others believe it could be something more aware, something that moves when it knows it isn't being watched directly. What makes this especially unsettling is how often warehouses become the center of stories like this. Large, quiet places where people have worked alone for years, sometimes leaving behind more than memories. But until he shares more footage or finds answers, whatever passed through that warehouse that night remains a mystery. Now, in this next video, a family's youngest daughter had been saying something that deeply unsettled them. On several nights, she would complain that someone was tickling her neck while she lay in bed. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. Each time, she would quickly turn around expecting to see someone standing behind her, and every single time, there was no one there. At first, her parents assumed it was imagination, the kind children sometimes have when they're half asleep. But the consistency of it and the fear in her voice when she described it made them take it seriously. So they installed cameras in the living room and in the upstairs hallway, positioned directly toward her bedroom door, hoping to finally understand what she was experiencing, and then one day they caught this. Watch.
Okay.
In the footage, the girl suddenly reacts like something was touching her. But what makes this moment even harder to explain is that no one else is there. No sibling, no parent, and nothing visible that could have caused that reaction. Some viewers who slowed the footage down claim they could see something sitting very close to her, a faint shape moving beside her before she reacts. Paranormal researchers often warn that physical interaction, especially repeated touch, is one of the most personal and invasive forms of activity. It suggests intent, awareness, something that isn't just present, but actively engaging. And when it targets a child, it raises even more concern, because children are believed to be more sensitive and more open to things adults may not notice. What makes this situation more difficult is that the family doesn't believe moving would solve it. Many people who've gone through similar experiences say activity like this can follow the person, not the place, which means leaving the house might not mean leaving it behind. Right now, the family is searching for answers, ways to protect their daughter and understand why whatever this is seems focused on her. Until then, this remains unsolved. In this next clip, a woman had been living alone with her dog when she began noticing things she couldn't explain. Doors she clearly remembered closing would be slightly open later. Her dog would stand in the hallway, staring into empty space, sometimes whining, sometimes wagging its tail like it saw someone familiar. At night, she would hear light footsteps moving past her bedroom. Not heavy, not aggressive, but soft, like someone small walking barefoot through the house. More than once, she woke up convinced she heard movement just outside her door. Eventually, the feeling became too constant to ignore. She installed cameras around the house, hoping to prove to herself that nothing was really there. But instead, she captured this. Watch. First, the door slowly opens by itself, then something far more disturbing happens. Something peeks out, and this time, she sees something. The shape is small, and for a brief moment, it appears to resemble the apparition of a child standing there. This is where things become deeply unsettling. Child apparitions are often described as appearing harmless at first, small, quiet, non-threatening. But many paranormal researchers warn that not everything that appears as a child truly is one. Some entities are believed to take on innocent forms to lower fear, to gain comfort, and to remain unnoticed longer. What makes this even more disturbing is the behavior itself, peeking from behind doors, observing instead of immediately interacting. After seeing this footage, she didn't hesitate. She packed her things, took her dog, and left the house. She later said she wouldn't return until she found someone who could help her understand what she captured, and more importantly, how to make it stop. So what do you think she was dealing with? Now in this next clip, another family is going through something that has slowly turned their home into a place of constant fear. Their young son has been reacting in ways they can't explain. Some nights he runs out of his room saying someone poked him. Other times he wakes up with small marks on his body and points at empty walls, quietly saying, "He did it." At first they thought it was nightmares, imagination, or something he would grow out of. But as the weeks passed, the incidents became more frequent and more physical. It got bad to the extent that sleep became difficult, not just for him, but for the entire family. One night, while they were all asleep, another episode began. Watch. You can see how the boy shifts under the blanket as his feet bend unnaturally, then, suddenly, the blanket lifts like something grabbed it. The little boy immediately wakes up crying and shouting that someone pulled his foot. So to calm him down, his mother tells him she was the one who did it, hoping it would ease his fear. But deep down, she knew she hadn't even left her side of the bed. Later, when they reviewed the CCTV footage, the truth became impossible to ignore. There was no one else in the room, and yet something clearly interacted with him. Encounters like this are often described as direct physical interaction, one of the most disturbing forms of reported paranormal activity, especially when it involves children. Some believe entities target younger individuals because they're more sensitive, more open, and less resistant to their presence. The fact that the boy had already been feeling touches, being poked, and pointing to empty spaces makes this moment feel less like a single incident, and more like something that had been building over time. For the family, the fear isn't just what happened that night, it's the possibility that it could happen again. In this next video, Nate documents yet another disturbing escalation inside his home, and by this point, whatever he's dealing with has gone far beyond subtle or easy to dismiss activity. For those unfamiliar with his story, Nate has spent months trying to understand what's happening in his house. Footsteps moving through rooms when he was alone, objects not staying where he left them, his dog, once comfortable in every part of the house, suddenly refusing to go near certain corners and staring into empty space, growling at nothing. But then things got worse. He began waking up with scratches on his body he couldn't explain, and there was this constant, heavy feeling, like something was moving through the house. Then, one day, he heard knocking coming from the basement, so he did what most people wouldn't have the courage to do. He went to check. And that's when this happened. Watch.
I made my way down to the basement. So I was hearing knocking coming from down here. I don't see anything. The knocking sounded like it was coming from right around here somewhere, because I was in the kitchen and I felt it in my feet. It's cold down here. Nothing out of the ordinary. Yeah. Just got super cold near me.
That voice didn't sound welcoming, and this isn't the first time whispers have appeared in his videos. Many people who followed Nate's story believe this could be something establishing presence, moving from passive signs like footsteps and object movement into direct communication. Now, this raises a much more serious question. If it's already speaking, what does it want from him? The following video was captured by a woman who believes something in her home has taken a disturbing interest in her two children. For months, she had been noticing things she couldn't explain. Her daughter would suddenly wake up in the middle of the night, crying and pointing toward corners of their room. Sometimes she refused to sleep altogether, insisting someone was standing near their bed watching them, and more than once, toys would occasionally end up in places no one remembered moving them to. She tried to convince herself it was nothing, but one night, her camera captured something she couldn't ignore. Watch this. She doesn't own any pets, and yet you can clearly see what looks like a tiny hand yank the cord. Some believe this could be the spirit of a child, entities that are often described as curious, drawn to other children, and capable of interacting with physical objects. But others warn that appearances can be misleading. There are countless cases where something presents itself as small or harmless, only to gain comfort and access to a family's space. But what makes this especially unsettling is the focus on the children. The activity isn't random, it's centered on their room, their belongings, and their beds. The mother says she wants to believe she's only being paranoid, but after watching this footage, it's hard not to ask, is this just fear playing tricks on her mind, or is something actually reaching out to her kids? I'll let you decide. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visits one of the most feared locations in Indiana, the Blackford County Jail. Built in 1879, this place wasn't just a prison, it was also the sheriff's living quarters, meaning law, punishment, and everyday life all existed under the same roof. For over a century, criminals were locked behind its heavy steel doors, until it finally closed in 1995. But according to locals, whatever was left behind never left. Visitors have reported hearing disembodied voices echoing through empty cells. Some claim they've felt sudden sharp pains, only to later discover scratch marks on their skin. And one of the most frequently seen figures is believed to be Sheriff Townsend himself, a former lawman who many say still walks the jail, watching over it long after his death. When Ian stepped inside, he immediately tried to communicate with whatever spirit was present. Watch.
If there's anybody in this jail, and you can hear my voice, could you come talk to me? Could you sit at one of these chairs? How about this one right across from me? Could you pull it out? I hear that there's a man by the name of Ed Townsend. I heard that you were the sheriff here. You passed away from a heart attack, but they say that somehow you're still here. Holy shit, dude. Dude, those were footsteps. Holy shit. They were walking in that room over there. Dude, that literally came from back there. Damn. Did you just walk? Was that you just walking? I freaking heard you. Holy moly.
At first, nothing happens, but after nearly 40 minutes, heavy footsteps echo through the building, like a large man walking somewhere inside the jail.
I could have been walking across this floor. Holy crap. My heart is racing already, and I just started.
Still at the sheriff's office, Ian hears a sound like a chair creaking, and the unsettling part is, Ian was completely alone. Some believe this could be Sheriff Townsend himself, still occupying his office, still carrying out his duty, refusing to abandon the place he once controlled. Others believe the jail has absorbed decades of fear, anger, and suffering, and that energy never truly fades. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded by a team of paranormal investigators who decided to livestream their exploration of an abandoned house, allowing viewers to witness in real time what they described as one of the most aggressive environments they had ever entered. A place where silence never truly felt empty and every step seemed to disturb something that did not want to be found. Almost immediately after entering, the atmosphere inside the house felt heavy and unwelcoming. the kind of oppressive stillness investigators often associate with locations that have been abandoned for long periods. Places where memories, trauma, and emotional energy are believed to linger without interruption, slowly shaping the environment into something far more hostile over time.
Auzi, mâncața asta, auzi. Aoleu, a spart bateria. Băi, bă, a rămas bateria acolo, băi. Nu mai cânta, băi, nu mai cânta, băi, omule, băi. Băi, oprește-te, băi. Bă, oprește, băi, că s-o dișălat bateria aici, am cațaș. Fugi. Fugi. Dă-i tare. Băi, cum îmi plângi acolo? Dai, măi, oleacă. Uite ce am făcut aici. Ale pe bune. O început cânta Ionuț acolo în cameră, o dărâmat dulapul de tot.
Doamne Iisuse Hristoase, Dumnezeul nostru, Cel ce a făcut marea și toate cerele.
Aoleu, a spart bateria. Băi.
Objects inside the house suddenly begin scattering violently, shifting and falling with force in a way that makes it clear this is not the result of simple structural instability or natural movement, but something deliberate, something reacting to their presence as if disturbed by the intrusion. Many paranormal researchers believe abandoned buildings become ideal environments for darker entities, especially because they remain undisturbed for years, allowing whatever presence exists there to grow stronger without resistance, feeding off isolation, decay, and the absence of human activity until the moment someone enters and disrupts that balance. But this was not the only time they captured something disturbing. During another live stream at a completely different abandoned house, the investigators experienced something that left both them and their viewers shaken. Watch.
Da cu casetofonul ăsta mini, da cu dulapul mini. Oricare spirit ai aflat aici, oricare... Ce-a fost asta? Ce-a fost asta? S-a desfăcut sertarul în cava.
Ferească-mă Dumnezeu, dacă nu mai citesc o dată.
Fai de cap, mă, dacă nu nebunesc. Uitați, uite spiritul cum trece pe aici, uite, uite. Da cu dulapul mini. Îți ordon, oricare spirit ai aflat, oricare...
Ce-i zis așa, mai?
Nu, am stricat tot, gata.
De ce ai zis să-i nu trebuia să zici?
Vai de capul,
o rup priză, o rup tot.
Pleacă, gata.
Ți-am zis să nu zici. Ai zis să te ia cu dulapul în tine, de ce ai zis?
Fai de capul meu.
Nu trebuia să zici.
În fața mea, Ionuț.
Hai de mine, nu trebuia să zici. Nu trebuia să cânt nicio aia.
Pardon, oricare spirit te afla, oricare...
Ăsta pe bunii de mult, pe bunii de la mare.
Na, Ionuț.
Nu-ți de aminte de ei. Și cu ochii, și căcatul ăștia.
A, tu cu moliftele tale, cu astea.
Nu, că e de la molift.
Nu e de la molift.
Ai zis tu.
Am zis eu.
First, some viewers tried to dismiss what appeared on camera as nothing more than dust particles or light reflecting off debris in the air, but that explanation quickly becomes difficult to accept when you notice the timing. The formation appears almost immediately after one of the investigators directly asks if any spirits are present, as if responding to the question itself. And then, only moments later, the shelf suddenly comes crashing down with force, violently collapsing in a way that suggests something far stronger than coincidence. Whatever was inside that house was strong enough to disrupt the environment, strong enough to respond, and strong enough to make it clear that it did not want them there. And encounters like this are exactly why investigators warn that some abandoned places are not empty at all, they are occupied. We can only hope that whatever was strong enough to cause that level of destruction never follows anyone home. This next video was captured by a woman's CCTV camera, and when she reviewed the footage later that morning, she noticed something that immediately made her stop and replay the moment over and over again, because what appeared on the screen didn't resemble anything she could explain through normal means. Watch.
All right, you guys, this happened. So much shit happened yesterday, it's not even funny. on the 17th yesterday at 6:55 a.m. Look at the car cruising by slowly, but that's not it, y'all. Let me know if I'm tripping, y'all. Let me know. At 6:55. Now, hold on, y'all. 3 minutes later. Let's get to it. Here he comes. Hold on. Let me show y'all the time. So, y'all, 3 minutes later. After this car. Come on, man. Talk to me. Hold on, y'all. Watch it. No. Let's play it back one more time. Y'all played this video over and over again because I was like, hold on, is it a headlamp? Watch. That's his eyes, y'all. Man, let's do it again. This is the part right here. Hold on. No, did you see how it went? Y'all, I can't do it, man. I can't. Where you at? Watch how it goes. It already did it. Y'all, did you see how it's going inside of his face, though? Like a headlamp. No, that part right there. Hold on. I went live. Watch this. Like, I went live a few hours later. This is yesterday, too, about 7:30. Look at that. For those of you who was on my live. As long as you receive my love and you give back love, I love you. Oh! And you can hear the click, y'all. And you can hear the click. But as long as you receive my love and you give back love, I love you. Oh! So what was that? What was that flashlight? Now, this last video, I'm going to have to upload it by itself because y'all need to hear the sound. This was also the 17th. This was at 10:30, about 10:30 p.m., same day.
At first glance, it's easy to assume the light could be coming from a headlamp or perhaps some kind of reflection from a passing vehicle, but that explanation quickly falls apart the moment you focus on the details. The light is positioned directly where the eyes would be, and doesn't behave like light reflecting. After this, she began noticing other strange changes around her property. Her motion alerts became more frequent, even on nights when there were no animals, no people, and no environmental triggers that could explain the activity. Sometimes the cameras would activate repeatedly within minutes of each other, as if something was pacing just outside her home, staying close but never fully revealing itself. Another night, she captured something even stranger, this time on her phone. Watch.
I saw you. The two glowing eyes right there. In between the two trees. Right there. It just did something. What is that? Oh, y'all see it. Y'all see it. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, it's a light beam. Oh my God. Y'all see it? You guys. It's too much. It's a lot just happened. Like, I'm waiting for my son. That was the ET I saw behind. Y'all, I seen it right here through the rearview mirror. The side mirror. I caught it, like the last part of it going by. And I'm trying to see which side did it go to.
In the footage, what appears to be a concentrated mass of light briefly forms and moves in a way that feels controlled rather than random, which has led many viewers to speculate that it could be what paranormal researchers sometimes describe as an energy manifestation, a form entities are believed to take when they do not have enough strength to fully appear as a solid figure. These manifestations are often described as existing somewhere between visible and invisible, appearing as glowing forms, flickers, or silhouettes made of light rather than matter. Some believe these forms are used to observe, to move quietly without being fully seen, especially in the early stages of a haunting when whatever is present has not yet fully anchored itself to the location. But the situation became even more unsettling when her CCTV camera captured something else. Listen closely. Heavy footsteps can be heard moving through the area, accompanied by raspy, unnatural sounds that don't resemble speech, breathing, or any known animal. For weeks now, she says it feels like something has been watching her. Her cameras activate almost every night, and the activity always happens in patterns, never random, as if whatever it is knows exactly where she is and when she is most vulnerable. Also, she's been having nightmares, but there's one in particular that left her deeply shaken. She describes dreaming about Egypt, about standing alone while what looked like an army of dark figures rushed toward her. She remembers waking up not in her bed, but in her driveway, disoriented, with no memory of how she got there. Since then, she has also reported hearing tapping on her walls at night, faint at first, but persistent, sometimes moving from one side of the house to another, as if something is trying to find a way in. Some believe the activity may have first attached itself to the location outside, possibly drawn to the property or passing through the area, and that by reviewing the footage repeatedly, focusing on it, and giving it attention, she may have unknowingly encouraged it to come closer. Attention is often described as a form of invitation, acknowledgement that can strengthen a presence and allow it to transition from being something that lingers outside to something that begins to enter. Whether this is a series of camera anomalies, sleep disturbances influencing perception, or something far more sinister slowly closing in, for now, it remains a mystery.